Hello students, in today's video we will be discussing about proposal writing, which is your ISC English 1 question number 2B. So proposal writing is basically a 10 marks question and it is question 2B. What is a proposal? A proposal basically is a plan or a suggestion which is in form of a formal written document. So very important thing here to remember is to use formal language since it is a formal document in order to seek permission or requesting any type of resources that you may need in execute your plan or suggestion. For example, it could be manpower, it could be resources like somebody's time, it could be resources like venue, place, or it could also be resources in terms of funds or budget. So a proposal, very quickly to remember, is a plan or suggestion. It is a formal written document to seek someone's permission and also requesting resources. In ISC, proposal writing has very specific guidelines. It's a 10 marks question where you're expected to write about 150 words. So proposal, when a student is writing proposal for the examination, ISC examination, usually the context of this proposal will be some sort of school event, activity, or probably a group event. So in this proposal, you will be seeking approval from your principal or head or any other authority. It could also be teachers of your grade. In your proposal, you're expected to explain the details, requirements, and specifics of the event or a project. So say, for example, if you plan to open up a science club in your school, you may want permission from authorities. It could be your science department, it could be your principal. So a science, if you are planning to start a science club, you may need resources like a lab, you may need resources in the lab, you may need teachers who can supervise and conduct the science club activities during certain days in the week. You will have to inform of the time, place, resources, etc. And you are writing this with a formal language, in a formal tone, in a way that a person who is reading it or the person who is going to grant you permission for it will know all the basics and specifics from your proposal. So all the information that is important in order to grant permission should be mentioned in a proposal. So it is more like a plan of action, but in future tense. Okay, so we will see and learn more about the proposal format wise as well as marks wise. So if we look at the format for the proposal writing, as per the ISC specimen, proposal should include these 5 elements. That is the title. We will look into the title in the next slide. Title, heading or introduction, which will be for 2 marks, objectives, which will again be for 2 marks, list of measures for 4 marks, and a concluding line. In all, this will be about 8 marks. 2 marks will be awarded for linguistic ability, which means your language, how well are you using the formal tone, spellings, vocabulary, etc. So in all, the question is for 10 marks. Let us now look at each of these elements in detail. So title. Basically, a proposal has to be appropriately titled, which is very simple and easy. Title should directly refer to the topic of the proposal. So how to write a title, you will get an idea from the question itself. So if the question says, write a proposal to set up a science club in your school, or write a proposal to set up an art and craft club in your school. So your title will be very simple, proposal for setting up an arts and craft club in school. So it should directly refer to the topic and you have to pick that up from the question itself. Title should be center aligned. So when you start writing the proposal, the very first thing you write is going to be the title, which has to be in the center in block letters. So here are some examples of how you can write your title. For example, the first one says proposal for setting up a culinary club. Culinary is referred to kitchen and cooking. So proposal for setting up a culinary club, proposal for organizing a handicraft fair, or proposal for setting up an Olympiad club. So This, what you're going to set up, will be mentioned in the question itself. You simply need to pick it up from there, use it in your title, and follow these guidelines, which is to it should be center aligned, it should be written in block letters the way it is shown here. So that is your title. After title, you leave one line and then you are writing heading or introduction, for which you will get 2 marks. So heading or introduction is your it's going to be your subheading, because title is the main heading under which you are writing a subheading. It has to be underlined. You have to use colons, and it has to be left side aligned. About 2 sentences to introduce the proposal. So if we look at the first topic, your proposal for setting up a culinary club. After that, you leave some space, and from the left side, you write heading or introduction and simply underline it. This need not be in block letters. Use a colon here, and then you are going to introduce why you are setting up a culinary club. So, for example, here it is to foster an interest in cooking and culinary arts. So, the basic reason to set up this club is to foster interest, to see if students are interested, to ignite that interest in students, and to introduce students to the basic practical skills required for cooking. We propose to set up a culinary club in school. So very simple. These are 2 sentences, no repetition in what you are writing. So 2 marks for 2 sentences. Very clearly, it's a basic introduction that you need to, in order to inform your authority of why you wish to set up a culinary club. After your heading and introduction, so first is the title, proposal for setting up a culinary club. Then comes your heading or introduction. You have to follow these guidelines for the format. After the colon, you start writing, and you have to minimum cover 2 sentences, no repetition in content. After that, you move on to objectives. Objectives is like stating your aims and objectives, which will be for 2 marks. What you have to cover in objectives is simply that what is the purpose, what is the aim of introducing this activity or project, or why are you suggesting such a change or event in school. So ISC, in your ISC papers, most of your proposals will always be school level proposals. So if you see, generally there are different types of proposal. There's a research proposal, there are grant proposals, there's business proposal, there's also project based proposals. But in ISC, they will limit your question to school based proposals. So it could be activities in school, some sort of extracurricular activities, clubs, even social activities that you wish to undertake as students. So such topics will be given to you. So after heading or introduction, you cover your objectives, where you are stating the aim behind organizing or setting up a club or organizing some events. So similar to heading and introduction, objectives will also, it's also called a subheading, which has to be underlined. You have to use colons, and it has to be left side aligned. Again, minimum of 2 objectives that state the benefit or advantages of the proposed plan. But remember, you're not writing in points, you are writing in sentence form, 2 complete sentences, the way it is given here as an example. So objectives, underline it, use a colon, and then start off by saying a culinary club will help students to explore their talent in the field of culinary arts. Culinary club enables students, culinary club will enable students to gain knowledge about food and different cooking techniques. So these are 2 reasons or 2 aims that you wish to achieve with this proposed plan, right? So introduction is just basically an introduction of what this club is about, and who all what this club is going to be about, whereas objectives is about the aims, what do you wish to establish or achieve through this club. Okay, so this will cover your 4 marks. Next 4 marks will be for list of measures. List of measures simply means detailed plan of action. It will cover things like who, when, how, where, what. So this is again a subheading which has to be underlined. You have to use colon, left side aligned. You have to write in bullet points. Unlike heading and introduction and objectives, list of measures, you always will write in bullet points. Perhaps this is the only place in your English 1 or English 2 paper where you're writing something in points. So this has to be listed down in points, since it's called the list. The topic itself says list of measures. So here you have to list in bullet points, not in numbers, but in bullet points. But you should write minimum of 4 points, since it's 4 marks. So minimum of 4 points, maximum of 5 to 6 points, not more than that. They cannot exceed the word limit, and you cannot end up writing 10, 12 points to explain your plan. You simply, minimum requirement is 4, maximum is about 5 to 6, not more than that. So minimum 4 points stating the important details about the proposed plan. How, who, where, when, budget or funds if needed. Use future tense. This is the basic thumb rule. You have to use future tense. Since the club has not been established yet, you are planning to establish it in future. So you're writing in future tense. So please be very careful about the tense that you use in list of measures, even for objectives and introduction. Be very realistic. Do not be very ambitious. Remember, it's a school level event or a club or activity, so you have to keep in mind the resources that are available. Also, you need to keep in mind the age group and not be ambitious with your plan. So let us see the examples of list of measures. So if you're setting up a culinary club, what could be the things that you need to cover? Very first, the club membership will be offered for classes 9 to 12 at rupees 500 per year. So very clearly, you have to begin by who is it meant for, because in a school you have different age groups. So you need to mention who is this club going to target, who are going to be the members of the club. So the club membership will be offered for so and so classes for so and so amount. Second point is about when. Club activities will be held on Fridays from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So you need to mention the day and the time, because when you are proposing a plan, in order to seek somebody's permission from your principal or teachers, they need to know exactly when do you propose to conduct the activities. Next thing is main science lab will be used for activity classes. You need to mention where, the venue. So we are covering who, when, where. Okay. Main science lab is the venue. The club will be supervised by Ms. Sharma and 5 members from the prefect council. So possibly a name of a teacher and some student members from the prefect council. So who will be the core committee or the core team supervising the club. And finally, the club will conduct activities ranging from designing meal plans, choosing recipes, listing and sourcing ingredients, and cooking meals. So what is this club going to do? The range of activities that the club will undertake, you need to mention that. So these are some basic things that you need to look into. So that will be covered in list of measures. So very simply here, you are writing the subheading list of measures with an underline, a colon, and then writing in bullet points about minimum 4, maximum 5 to 6 points, covering who, when, how, where, and what. So these are the basic things that you have to cover in list of measures. If you miss out on any of these points, your list of measures will be incomplete, because in order to get permission, you need to inform the authorities of the basic idea, of the basic resources that you will need and who is it for. So that will look into your list of measures, which is for 4 marks. After that, you simply use one line to conclude your proposal. Again, here you don't need any subheading. This is simply a line which you will use towards the end of the proposal. So no subheading, no underline, no colon is required. Avoid using first person unless the question uses you. So always write as we, because it's not one person who can come up with a plan and seek permission. It has to be a group of people. unless and until the question says that you are planning to conduct so and so activity, then it's fine if you write I, but otherwise you will always use we. So your sample of your concluding line could be, we hope that this proposal will be accepted so the culinary club is established at the earliest. Now, this is the entire proposal that we have just discussed as examples, how it looks like. So here is the title, Proposal for Setting Up a Culinary Club. There is no underline after the title. It's written in block letters. It's aligned in center. You leave some space, one line in your foolscap sheet, after which from the left hand side, which is after the margin, you will start writing heading or introduction, which is, this is called your subheading. This title is the main heading. Subheading is heading or introduction. You will underline it, use a colon, and write at least 2 sentences for introduction. After you have written these 2 sentences for introduction, again you will leave one line on your foolscap sheet and write objectives, underline, colon, and write 2 objectives in sentence form, not in points. After that, again leave one line, list of measures, underline, colon, write in bullet points only. All of this has to be written in future tense. Okay, you are in list of measures, you will be covering who, when, how, where, and what. Okay, these are the basic things that you have to cover. Once you are done with that, you will then leave one line and write the concluding sentence. We hope that this proposal will be accepted so that the culinary club is established at the earliest. This is the end of proposal. Very simple if you see. The only few things that you need to be careful of is using a formal tone, since you are requesting to a person of authority or people of authority, right? So your tone, language, you need to look into. Format is simple. Over time, when we start practicing it again and again, you will remember the format very easily. Now, if we look at another sample which is shared on the ISC website, cisc.org, here the website is mentioned. They have given this sample on the website for us to refer to. So this is how your question 2B looks like. As a member of the Science Council of your school, you have been given the responsibility of setting up a science club. Write a proposal in about 150 words stating the steps you would take to successfully establish this particular club. So very easily the title is picked from the question itself, proposal for setting up a science club. This is how your question will be framed. You have to choose your title from the question, leave a line, heading or introduction, write in 2 sentences. You can see over here, maximum 2 sentences, 2 marks. Again, you will leave a line, objectives, maximum 2 points in sentence form, and then you have 2 marks here. After that, leave a line, list of measures in bullet points. Okay, who, when, where, how, all that is covered in this list of measures. Minimum 4 points, okay, maximum 5 to 6, not more than that, okay, which is for again 4 marks. And then you leave a line and write the concluding line there, which says, we hope that the proposal will be accepted so that the science club becomes a reality in the life of the school. Okay, and then you end your proposal. That is all that you need to do. Okay, and this is how you will be marked 2, 2, 4, and 2 for your language. So that's the end of the proposal, and we will be solving doubts in our class next. Thank you, students.